Hey Virgos, so it's me Alexis. Welcome back to my astrology channel, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a horoscope and tarot reading for the new moon in Libra on September 28th. So if you guys like my content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel or give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, if you're a Virgo Sun or Rising, this video is for you. So let's go ahead and get into this reading. So Virgo, what is going on in the universe right now? So the new moon is going to be in Libra, obviously, and it's going to be in 5 degrees on September 28th. On top of that, there is a point of tension, though, because the transiting Venus will be square to the transiting Pluto, and Venus is ruling over Libra, so I do think that Venus-Pluto square will be very significant for this new moon, so I'm going to go ahead and unpack that for you guys. So Libra is going to be the sign of balance. It's the sign of justice. It's the sign of, relationships, give or take, all that stuff. When I think of the Libra, I mean, the symbol for Libra is the scales, you got to make sure that it's all nice and equal. Now, now for this new moon, I mean, the new moons usually represent like beginnings of a cycle, implementing new things, or maybe, ending something so you can start something new. That's one way that I've seen new moons to be also. And then with the, with Venus being squared to Pluto, that in itself, I think that kind of, this sort of, when I think of Pluto is like upheaval. I think of, transformation. I think of things suddenly changing without your consent, and it sucks. And I would say that with Venus being squared to Pluto, it kind of shows a, fueled kind of upheaval when it comes to your connections. Maybe it's time for some of your connections to really, reconsider how they're going at the moment, because if they don't, they're going to crash and burn. So we gotta do the crash and burn now so that the bigger crash and burn doesn't happen. That's one way to see the Venus-Pluto squared. Now, Virgo, this new moon in Libra is going to be happening in your second house, and then the transiting Pluto is going to be in your fifth house. So the second house is going to be the house of stability. It's going to be the house of security. In a psychological sense, you can think of the second house as, your self-esteem, your sense of confidence, and how you value yourself. And on a financial level, you can kind of think of it as your personal finances. So Virgo, this is a good time for you to kind of maybe make some new goals about, your finances. So let's just say that, you want to plan a vacation for your friends, and, when you're hanging out with your friends, like, you're connecting with them, right? So, like, now would be a good time to be like, okay, let's make a savings plan for that vacation to Paris soon, or something like that. On a psychological level, like, this could be a good time for you to kind of, reevaluate yourself and really be fair to yourself. Because Virgo, you're really good at being technical, you're good at analyzing, and sometimes, that analyzation, if taken in the wrong direction, could be really feverish. It could be unfair ultimately. And honestly, Virgo, sometimes you need to be fair to yourself to be objective ultimately. And I think that this new moon could be a nice, psychological like reset, so that you can start evaluating yourself fairly. Because Virgo, in order to start evaluating yourself and valuing yourself, you have to see yourself clearly, and you have to value yourself as well. You got to see, what you deserve as a person. And I think this new moon can help you with that. And ultimately, with that, you can start, valuing yourself again in a way that is fair and just. And, in a way where you are open to receiving and giving in a way that is equal. Now, there is, the whole square thing going on, because, Venus will be squared to Pluto in the transits. And Pluto is residing in your fifth house. So the fifth house is going to be the house of pleasure. It's going to be the house of creativity. I think of hobbies, children, romantic partners, sex, all of that. And, when I think of the second house, I imagine a person trying to hold their ground, trying to be stable, stuff like that. And then at this point, with Pluto in the fifth house, all of these attractions is something that's fun and alluring and fun. Like, that stuff can kind of deter you away from it. When I kind of think about the second and fifth house square dynamic, I feel like as of right now, Virgo, you are trying your best to be on your best behavior. You're trying to be fair to everybody. You're trying to be fair to yourself most of all. And you're trying to make sure that things are stable and secure. You're trying to save up your money. You are trying to be your best person right now. And that fifth house, transiting Pluto, squaring Venus, it could threaten that, because, maybe, let's just say that, you really want to save money, but then your friends ask you to go out drinking with them. and you don't have the money to go drinking, but you go out with them anyway. It's like self-sabotage. You're not valuing yourself when you abandon yourself for something fun. Or let's just say that you know that as of right now you don't really want to date anybody right now, and you know, because you gotta be fair to yourself first, but then like this cute person comes up, they're like, hey, you wanna go on a date, and you're like, yeah, and you go on a date with them, and then you know, it's not really healthy for you, and you sabotage yourself further. So like, Virgo, you're at this point where you're kind of like, hey, I'm going to be a good noodle right now. But it's really hard to be a good noodle when you find that fun things could also sabotage you. It could be a little bit jarring when you're sitting here and you're kind of like, how could something so fun and so enjoyable also ruin me as a person? So that's kind of what I'm feeling for the energy that's going on right now. So yeah, let's go ahead and look at your cards, Virgo. Let's see what the cards have to say. Yeah. I talk about your second house and how you have to value yourself, and lo and behold, the Queen of Coins pops up. My deck knows. So, Virgo, let's kind of talk about what you got here. You got the Queen of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Queen of Coins. So, looking at this, so, you know how I said earlier that you were trying to be a good noodle? Yeah. I kind of looked at this card, I was like, ah, yes, you are trying to not only be a good noodle, you are trying to be a disciplined good noodle. Sorry. So, with the Queen of Swords, I feel like as of right now, you're really trying to, you know, I mean, not be cold, but I guess be a little bit withdrawn to the things that you enjoy in life. So like in terms of like romantic context, for example, maybe a lot of people are reaching out for you. They're kind of like, hey, let's hang out, or hey, let's go drinking, or hey, let's kind of do sabotaging behaviors together because it's fun. And you're sitting here kind of like, kindly, no. So when I think of the Queen of Swords, I think the Queen of Swords is very cold. She's very disciplined. She chooses her words very carefully. When I think of, I kind of think of you when I see this because, Virgo, you are someone who does care about, what you say. You're very methodical. The Queen of Swords is also like this. So as of right now, you are trying to embody this energy. You are trying to maintain your power. Because, if you look at this card, I like the interpretation for this Queen of Swords is because that, if you look at the card here, you can see that she's kind of like veiling her sword, and that's her power. So as of right now, you're just trying to preserve your power right now, which is very second house. And then with the Queen of Coins, you're in the process of vowing yourself right now. Maybe you're at the point where you're sitting here and you're kind of like, oh, I can do this. I am a valuable person. Or, oh, I do deserve good things. It is fair for me to enjoy certain things. Oh, it is fair for me. So it's kind of like you're in a moment where you're kind of realizing your own worth, and you're kind of like, wow, I don't need someone to reassure me that like I am worth it. I am worth it. I don't need someone to tell me that. So with the Queen of Coins, I think, this is kind of like your goal. If the Queen of Swords is you right now, then I would say the Queen of Coins is who you will strive to be. And honestly, in my opinion, I think you should kind of be a combination of both, because if you're a combination of both, you are unstoppable. So, yeah, Virgo, you're kind of on the road on trying to be self-secure and self-sufficient, and at the same time, like, knowing when to kind of, blast your guns. And you're trying to kind of learn that, and you're trying to stop yourself from like distracting behaviors. Now I will say though that the Page of Cups is the last card, and I think this is my caution whenever I kind of told you about things that could kind of sabotage you, but like it's also fun. So I think one thing you do need to watch for is for your emotions. You need to kind of watch for how you feel, because maybe a large motivator for you participating in fun things that could ultimately be bad for you is the emotional high that you get, or the emotional high that you're anticipating for. And at this point, I think the main thing that you really need to kind of think about is how can I manage my emotions to the point where I don't want to strive for behaviors that are fun but I know are bad for me. So how can I discipline myself? And I say this because with the Page of Cups, you know, the page can be kind of hasty. They can try to make things, you know, well too fast. They're a little bit too, you know, they're a little too excited. And I think because of that, like getting into something too fast or going into an activity too fast without thinking about it, it could, you know, undermine you in the long run. So Virgo, when it comes to this new moon, I mean, like the moon is the planet of emotions. I mean, do check your emotions. I do think that this new moon will definitely be a more internal one. I mean, honestly, it's more like a connection to yourself kind of new moon. I would say that kind of, you know, when it comes to emotions, like emotions are fleeting, and sometimes because they're fleeting, sometimes the things that you do out of those fleeting emotions could be something that you can regret later on. And I think regret is something that you're not really looking forward to, Virgo. So let's go ahead and try to prevent that. You know, I think you're trying to do a good job, and that's great. And I think that ultimately this new moon could be beneficial for you because it is a good time for you to kind of, you know, be fair to yourself and learn what you truly deserve as a person. So yeah, Virgo, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it all resonates, and I'll see you guys next time.